Let's talk about the Mona Lisa Vanishes and how to discuss it with your tweens and teens. Hi, I'm Mary Wilson. I lead Outschool Book Clubs online, and I love to share here ideas for book discussion so that parents can discuss these books with their own children at home. Of course, your children are welcome to join my book clubs as well. The information is below and links to the wait list. All right, The Mona Lisa Vanishes is a nonfiction book that was the winner of the Cyber Award in 2024, which is given to a nonfiction title in children's literature. This book is the true story of the art thief who stole the Mona Lisa, but it is told in a very engaging narrative conversational style. The author chooses to use two time periods and kind of jumps back and forth between the 1900s in France, when the Mona Lisa was actually stolen. So that's the time period where we're looking at the crime, who's involved, the detective work, all of that kind of thing. And then also decides to give us the backstory of the Mona Lisa and Leonardo da Vinci, who painted it, and the Lisa who posed for it. And that takes place in the late 1400s, early 1500s. So we're kind of jumping back and forth in this timeline from the actual crime to the backstory of the painting. It is full of humor and little quips and jokes. It's a lot of fun, in my opinion. I definitely rated it a 9 out of 10. I cannot say that all the kids agreed. Some absolutely loved it, and others did not care for it at all. One thing that is particularly confusing about this book is there are a lot of characters to keep track of, and you're in two different timelines with names that are really unfamiliar. So, one suggestion I have is as you meet the characters in the book, just take a piece of paper, jot down the name with a sentence description to remind you who they are. The head detective, the, security guard, Picasso's best friend. Yes, you're going to meet him. And things like that. So as you're jumping back and forth, you can keep track of the characters. All right. If I was reading this with my kids, here are some things that I would discuss. First of all, I would discuss the two time periods. That was one of the first things we discussed. I started by asking the kids, to talk about the 1900s. What was going on? What could someone learn about that time period? What really stood out to them? A lot of the things that stood out to them had to do with the detective work and the beginning of forensics. Fingerprinting was kind of a new thing, and France was behind the times, and there's a reason for it. So we talked about the 1900s, Picasso, interesting character with some facts I didn't know about him. Then we talked about the late or early 1500 time period. What stood out to them? Here we had a lot of conversation about Leonardo da Vinci and what he was like as a person. And then because we met Lisa, who posed for the Mona Lisa, we talked a little bit about, women in that time period and how we learned a lot through her experience and who she was. And then I asked them, did they have a favorite time period? Was there one they preferred over the other? And after that discussion, we kind of talked about why include the time period in the 1500s? Why include the lore or the backstory for the Mona Lisa? Did it enhance the reading experience? Was it distracting? Some kids wished it had just been told in one chronological story and had kind of gone through how the Mona Lisa was created and then jumped to the theft that happened near the end. Okay, another thing I would talk about is the punishment for the art thief. I'm not going to give anything away, but ask them if it was just, if they feel like it was understandable. Do they wish it had been different? Did they enjoy what happened? Again, I don't want to say a whole lot. And then after we learn who committed the crime, how they got away with it, what all transpired, the author gives us another little tiny chapter about a conspiracy theory that was released later in a American newspaper that people bought into. And it kind of fits the narrative of the story of how everyone was looking for a bigger story than what was the reality. So I asked the kids, why do you think the author gave us this conspiracy theory that happened later? Why not just end where it was with the crime being solved? And we kind of talked about why he may have included it. Do they think he should have included it? And if they enjoyed it or not. And then, of course, if I'm discussing an award-winning book, I love to ask the kids, do they think the book deserved the award? And I'd actually start with this other question. Why do they think it was chosen? What is unique, special, significant about this book? And then do you agree with the decision? So it was a really fun book to discuss in my 11 to 13-year-old book club and in my 14 and 15-year-old book club. I think it is well worth listening to the audio, but if you listen to the audio, it's kind of fun to get the actual book to listen along with. Not only does it have kind of a really nice separation of each sections to help you keep track of it, but it has some nice illustrations as well. All right, any other information you need is down below. If you have any questions or book suggestions, because I'm always looking for those, then leave them in the comments.